I don't think most of us are wasting money on purpose. But if you start to look closely, there's a lot of patterns behind the things that we buy, and a lot of these patterns are actually just traps. Traps that we consistently fall into. Things like they promise to make your life easier, more organized, more productive, but most of the time, they don't really change anything. They just lead to more stuff, more spending, and more to manage. What we really need to realize is that it's not just about what we're buying, it's why we're buying it. In this video, I want to walk through some of the traps that we constantly fall into, and why they're often just not worth it. Number one, and this is something we can all relate to, which is buying stuff or buying things to make us feel more productive. I think we've all been there at one point or another, buying planners to make us feel more organized, buying calendars, buying productivity apps, even budgeting apps. We've all had subscriptions that we sign up for and then just forget about and then remember months later when we see the bill come through. The trap here is that you're buying something that you think is going to help you be more organized, or with the hope that it's going to organize your life. But because we haven't put that practice into place, nothing really even changes. Do this instead, and this is what I do. I actually use my native iPhone app for note-taking and task-keeping. It's literally just the Notepad app, I think, and start with that. Don't go out and purchase the subscription to try to organize your life and organize all your tasks. Don't go buy one of those super expensive digital calendars you are not even sure how to use. And don't go and buy the fancy planner or calendar just because you think that's going to organize your life magically. Don't buy things to feel or hope to be productive. Start with small habits and small things that will get you on the road to being more productive. And then maybe you can buy the fancy calendar. The next one is buying books that you're not going to read. That can be anything from self-improvement books to parenting books to finance books, even fiction, fantasy, or sci-fi books. The trap here is buying the book feels like growth. It feels like progress. Similar to buying things that make you feel more productive, buying books makes us feel like we're growing in whatever category we happen to buy that book from. Buying books feels like progress, but reading is the actual progress. I've fallen into this trap so many times, it's crazy. And we purchase these books with good intentions. We purchase these books because we think we're going to glean some important information, that they're going to make us better people, that they're going to make us more well-rounded people. And that's all true. But if we don't commit to the actual reading, then more often than not, those books just end up sitting on our shelves as nice little decorations. Use the 15-minute method. What's the 15-minute method? So according to ChatGPT, and take this with a grain of salt, but according to ChatGPT, the average person can read between 200 and 300 words per minute. Most standard books contain about 250 to 300 words per page. So when you do all the math and work it all out, that ends up being about 10 to 18 pages per 15 minutes a day. 10 on the low end, 18 on the high end. You break that down per month, and that ends up being, even on the low end, 300 pages per month. That's an entire book in some cases. If you can apply the 15-minute per day method, and really that's nothing, you could have 12 books read by the end of the year, depending on the length. The point is to have a plan for all those books that you're purchasing so they don't just end up sitting on your shelf collecting dust and then end up in the donate pile someday. Read your books. Number 3 is organizing instead of taking action. I've talked about this previously, but we can often fall into the trap of buying more storage, buying more organization, and just buying more space in general to store all of our stuff that we have instead of simply just getting rid of it. Extra storage bins and storage racks sound nice, and we love to have our stuff organized if we need it. More often than not, we're just avoiding the problem of getting rid of stuff that we don't even use or need anymore. Heck, people even buy bigger houses because they think they're running out of space in their homes, and really all they need to do is just get rid of a bunch of stuff. When I started doing minimalism about 2.5 years ago, it was moving that was the catalyst. I don't know what the old saying is, you never know how much stuff until you have to move it or something like that, but it's true. So much stuff just comes out of the woodwork when you decide to do a big move. And instead of buying more space, storage, more organizational tools for your stuff, it might just be time to get rid of things. Number 4 is fitness gear that you won't use. This is another one that I've personally fallen into the trap of many times because I've been a home gym guy for many years now. And similar to buying productivity tools and books that we're not going to read, don't fall into the trap of aspirationally buying some home gym equipment without a clear workout or exercise plan to actually use that thing. A couple years ago after we moved, I was able to buy a lot of gym equipment that I've been dreaming about buying. But when I made this purchase, I had a lot of specific plans in place for how I was going to use this equipment. We buy gear hoping it will make us more consistent in the gym, hoping it will give us more motivation to get into the gym. But consistency in the gym and for exercise doesn't come from fancy equipment. It just makes us feel more guilty when we don't end up using it. What you need is a reason to get into the gym every day, something that really drives you forward. Maybe it's you just want to be in better shape and to feel good about the body that you live in. Maybe you're training for some big marathon or some big race or some big event. For me and for a lot of people, it's just trying to stay in shape to keep up with my 4 kids. Similar to reading, all it really takes is 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes if you can squeeze a little bit more time out. And here's the thing, if your kids are old enough, have them join you in your workouts. Suddenly you're looking after your kids and getting fit at the same time. But don't start with the fancy equipment. Start with a plan, start with a program, and follow through with your workouts. The next one is a little bit different of a trap. Number 5 is normalizing small spending. And there's a ton that falls into this category. Small upgrades here and there, little purchases on Amazon, a coffee every day, even like small little snacks that we buy in the checkout aisle at the grocery store. The reason being, when we make a small purchase, typically around $10 or less, it's easy to just dismiss it and not think about it because it's so little. We tend to shut off our brains and gladly open our wallets, especially when our kids are around and they're asking for something. We love to make our kids happy. What this does, however, is it creates a never-ending cycle of small spending, even if it's just like a coffee a day. I actually recently did the math on this just to make an illustration for my 14-year-old. We were talking about coffee and how even if you just bought like a $5 latte once a day for only weekdays, that's $25 a week. That adds up to $100 a month, which is then in turn $1,200 a year. There is so much more I can think of to do with $1,200 than to spend it on coffee 5 days a week. That could be a really cool family outing somewhere. That could be groceries for a whole month. It could be a really fun purchase, a musical instrument. I don't know, you use your imagination. The point is to stop normalizing this constant slow bleed, small spending all the time. Because while it feels really little and insignificant at the time, it just really starts to add up. Now these last two are kind of related, but number 6 is research-driven purchases. Here's the scenario. You're scrolling on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, and you get an ad for something. Now you weren't even thinking about this product until you saw an ad for it. And all of a sudden you start thinking, oh, I'd kind of like to have that. Or you're talking with your friends and one of your friends brings up something that they recently purchased that they really like. And the next thing you know it, you're scrolling through video after video on these different products and researching the best one and researching whether or not it's good and researching whether or not it's going to change your life. And something weird happens while we're doing this research. We start to convince ourselves that we need this thing more and more. And then after hours of countless research and deliberating over which one was the best one and which one was the best one for you, you've convinced yourself that you actually need this product. The next time you catch yourself doing this and falling into this trap, stop and ask yourself the question, do I really need this? Because this can easily spiral into the next trap, which is buying things because they're the best quality, or what's commonly known as buy once, cry once. Okay, we've done our research, we've looked up every single product review, we've convinced ourselves that this is the best and highest use of our time and the best possible product that we could get. Similar to our previous example, we don't want to just buy something because we spent hours and hours researching and because it's the highest and best possible item that's gonna last for generation after generation and outperform all of the competitors. Doesn't even really matter if we never truly needed the item in the first place. Now I'm all for buying once and crying once. if we actually need the item. But again, similar to the research-driven purchases, we must first ask ourselves the question, do I need this item? Again, this video isn't about telling you not to buy this item or that item. What I want to do is help you recognize the patterns that lead you to buy things that simply are not worth it. Because these are traps that we've all fallen into at one time or another. Remember, these aren't just the things that we buy, they're the patterns that we fall into. And most of what we buy isn't useless, it's just unnecessary. And over time, that really adds up. Thank you guys so much again for watching this video. I really appreciate it. In the comments below, let me know if I missed anything or if there are any traps that you have specifically fallen into that I didn't mention. And if you want to learn more about how to declutter and how clutter is actually costing you more than you think, click here. I appreciate you all, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.